Hi, hello, it is your least favorite Drag Race content creator, Jer, here for a continuation of our What If Reshuffled All-Stars seasons. This video, we are going to be tackling All-Stars 4. If you are unsure what I'm talking about, go back and watch the original video. It should be in the same playlist that this one will be in. This is a really interesting season to tackle, and I'm excited to actually get into it. If you don't know the rules and this is your first video, I am going to be judging based off of my own preferences, not trying to guess what RuPaul or the other girls would have done, because I don't think that's productive. And I specifically wanted to judge these seasons from my perspective. I'll be choosing a winner and a bottom two, and I will be determining based off of lip sync style who I think would win the respective lip sync. I will speculate mildly on who I think's lipstick would get pulled if lipsticks were in play, but that is not weighing heavily into any other part of the video. So without any further stalling, let's get into it. Per the last few videos, the queens that I would have added outside of the predetermined roster that fit the criteria of this season, which I themed as hard competition, would be Laganja and Jaden Dior Fierce. And that's who I would have used to beef up this cast. Once again, the theme is hard competition. Let's jump in. Starting in episode 1, the All-Star Spangled Variety Show. Once again, this is a variety show, not a talent show, so I will be judging based off of what I was most entertained by. I'll also be taking a couple swings, hoping that these queens will do the exact same talents that they did in their respective All-Stars. We've seen variety shows from each one of these queens, so I think this would be a really fun first show. My inclination is to believe that by season 4 of All-Stars, Coco would have been able to get a Janet song greenlit so she could do her original Janet number. So she's automatically being considered as safe for me because I know that that would eat. I would love to believe that Jeremy wouldn't try to do acapella, but he is a big question mark for me. Monet in the original season was shaky and messy in this challenge. Additionally, my automatic thought is that Morgan would ask everyone why they were mad again, and therefore the two of them are my bottom twos. Tatiana and Mo Hart are my high considerations, and if Tatiana still does the same parts, I am giving her the win this week. Now, if this was a lipstick choice, I can't see Tatiana choosing Morgan. I feel like they have a good rapport by now, so she might choose Monet's name. The very first lip sync is Emotions, and if it's between Monet and Morgan, this is a song that Monet could absolutely deliver a super fun, exciting, campy performance, and I would expect to see Morgan gone in episode 1. Therefore, Monet is safe another week. Episode 2 is Super Girl Groups, Henny. I love this challenge entirely because Stacy is there, and I love Mother Henny. I don't really know how these groups would be split up, but my expectation is for Monet to eat and devour yet again, with Shay also slay Kool-Aiding. I would likely give the win to Monet because I still think about her performance in that challenge. And the bottom two would likely be Eureka, since she traditionally struggles in these kinds of challenges, as well as Jeremy because I just don't see him thriving in this challenge. I know that Mo is in the bottom originally, but I didn't entirely agree with that placement, and I still don't in this universe. If it is Monet choosing either Eureka or Jeremy's name to go home, I could see her choosing Jeremy over Eureka. They're seasoned sisters, they've got a good rapport, they've worked with each other before, and I'm sure that Monet would want to see more from her. And Monet, being a smart, competitive person and when it comes to Drag Race, would recognize that Eureka might win a challenge at some point and be able to save her ass. However, the lip sync song is Into You. And I gotta know, am I nuts for thinking that Jeremy would sweep this one? It seems a little bit out of Eureka's wheelhouse, and I'm probably nuts, but that is in fact my choice, and Jeremy gets to survive yet another week. So in episode 3, the Snatch Game of Love, I gotta say initially, Snatch Game of Love sucks. I wish it was just normal Snatch Game. We don't need to add these weird parameters to it that don't make it fun. Shangela, Shay, and Trinity are the high ones for me in this universe. And if it's still Caitlyn Jenner, Trinity is absolutely going to take the win for me, especially in comparison to Jennifer Lewis and Flava Flav, which were both really funny, but I don't think we're as funny as Caitlyn. And the bottom two for me would be Tatiana and Coco, based off of how Tatiana did as Ariana and how Coco's original Snatch Game was not funny at all. Do I think that Jeremy would be bombastically hilarious? No, but I think that he would certainly be funnier than where Coco was. And Mo is passable in this Snatch game. If it's Trinity choosing the lipsticks, I see her wanting to go against the best of the best, so I could see her maybe picking Tatiana's name, but I could also see an argument being made for Coco, because Coco hasn't been doing great this season, and Tatiana has a win. The lip sync song is How Will I Know, and I feel like this would be a show for the ages. Unfortunately, as much as I do love Tatiana, I think that Coco would beat her here. Therefore, Tatiana is out. Next, we move to episode 4, which is Jersey Justice. This is a fun one to think about because I think it would be significantly less cringe with these particular queens. However, I think that Coco would flub. And I really didn't love Monet's original performance, so they're the bottom 2 because I don't see Jeremy doing bad enough to land in the bottom. And I think her character could be pretty funny depending on if she sort of took it to a Latina Jersey character. I really love Mo's performance in this challenge. I think about Objectify probably 24 hours a day. And I fear that Shangela would be the one to take it in an acting improv challenge like this. This seems very much in her wheelhouse that she would do well in. If it's Shangela choosing who gets to go home, I could see her maybe choosing to eliminate Coco, keeping Monet since Monet's been a little more consistent, but also knowing that Coco could be a powerful ally depending on the challenge, could keep her instead. It's really hard to say what Shangela would do. The lip sync song is The Bitch Is Back, and I gotta be honest, Coco would eat this one up yet again. She is the lip sync assassin forever and always, and the lip syncs from this season are so conducive for her success and the style of lip syncing that she does. And that means that Monet, unfortunately, is out here. I know y'all are gagged. So next up is Roast in Peace, and I have a spicy take that I'm going to share with y'all, and that's that someone should have been eliminated this episode because the following episode is the return format. And I feel like that was a challenge that had so much body and mass to it, but it all was hollow because 2 of the queens in the competition could not be eliminated and replaced. And when you take such a huge chunk of your cast out of play for an entire episode, it almost makes the entire twist not worth it at all. In my opinion, Valentina should have been eliminated in this episode, and Manila and Monet should have both been up for elimination. And it would have been cool to see who Valentina would have picked. I think it's possible she would have picked Monet and maybe gone against her since she had already beaten her and Into You. Maybe she would think, I could beat her again. And who knows, maybe she would. So let's do the meat and potatoes. This is a Shangela winning, clear front and center to me. I didn't laugh at Mo's original set, and I think Jeremy would struggle pretty hard. So they are the bottom 2 this week for me. While I don't think that Coco excels in these types of comedy challenges, she can read and roast. So I think she would have some really funny things to say about Bunny. Trinity was kind of cringe and not very funny, but I don't think it would be cringier than what Jeremy would do. And I don't see Shay doing badly in a challenge like this. I just don't. In this scenario, I 100% see Shangela eliminating Jeremy. The lip sync song is Jump to It, and I think this is Mo's to win, meaning that Jeremy is out once again in a stand-up challenge. And even though Shangela won the challenge, she is not going to be safe from elimination and can be replaced next week. I also really hated that they used a save at this point. I don't think that was necessary. I think they could have just easily done 2 double wins the following episode, but I fear that maybe production was scared that Valentina wouldn't be able to turn out a lip sync well enough and wouldn't be able to fight or advocate for herself enough to stay or to replace somebody that was there. And maybe also they didn't want her replacing someone that they liked, like Naomi, perhaps. So it's time for the twisty twist return extravaganza, the Lalaparooza, the very first of its kind. A challenge that should be done every single All-Stars, in my opinion, in some way, shape, or form. Lip syncing is bread and butter for US queens, and I always love seeing it. For the Lalaparooza, I had a really fun time imagining what this would look like. Based on elimination order, the eliminated queens get to choose who they want to verse, and I think that it makes the most sense that Jeremy might pick Trinity. I think all of these other lip syncers are powerful, And I feel like Jeremy would be strategic and realize that maybe he wouldn't be able to beat any of the others. Monet chooses Shangela because the two of them do the most similar type of choreography. I don't see her choosing her friend Monique, and I wouldn't see her wanting to replace her anyway. And I think that she would recognize that she wouldn't be able to beat Shea or Coco. Her most likely to beat would be Mo, and I don't see her wanting to do that to her friend. Tatiana then would choose Mo for a similar reason that no one would want to go against Coco or Shea. Eureka, being one of the strongest lip syncers of the eliminated girls, would probably choose Shea Coulee. And that means that Morgan ends up with Coco. So our very first showdown starts with the very first eliminated queen, which is Morgan versus Coco. And I mean, let's all be real with ourselves. Coco wins this one. And these are all RuPaul songs. It could be in the same order and we'll need one more in there, but it doesn't really matter what that song is. The next lip sync is between Eureka and Shea, and I think this would be such a fun one to watch. However, I do think that Shea is sweeping. Next up is Tatiana versus Mo. And in my opinion, this could really go either way. I think if this was Kitty Girl, that could be really fun to watch. If this was Adrenaline, that could be really fun to watch. This, in my opinion, is the very first double save. We get two of them that we can utilize this episode so that we can stay consistent with the rest of the season. Next up is Monet versus Shangela. And come on, I think this is absolutely going to be our second double save. That leaves things up in the air because there could be a third double save for all these queens, no, or Trinity could get replaced. However, I think that Trinity would win the lip sync no matter what. Despite having that horrible, awful lip syncing gown that she came out in. That hairdresser smock, what was that? So that means that Monet and Tatiana are both back in the competition. Bringing us to episode 7, Queen of Clubs. This was probably the best in this format, which was designing a club. We've tried to do this again on Drag Race where they've created a bathroom and a hotel room, but this was the one that made the most sense. I would love to see them design a bar for more All-Stars seasons. It's a pretty good legacy challenge to keep in rotation. So let's talk pairings really quick. I see Mo and Monet working together once again. I see Shangela and Tatiana pairing themselves with each other since they're season sisters. And that leaves Coco, Shea, and Trinity to work with each other. I do see Coco, Shea, and Trinity working well together, all of them having very different points of view when it comes to drag and creating a concept. And Trinity being a nice anchor for any ideas that would have flown around between Coco and Shea. And I feel like Shea would have been a good foil to a lot of Coco's anxieties when it comes to not wanting to look silly or foolish on Drag Race. However, Shangela and Tatiana feel like what magic is made of. I see them dominating this challenge, with Tatiana being sort of real, genuine, shady, and Shangela emceeing the house down. So Shangela is the winner this week. And my bottom two, honestly, would be Mo and Monet. I hated that alien club they made. And I don't see the triple team doing bad enough to not be safe. If this is Shangela's choice, I don't know who she would pick between these two. I think it would be hard because Monet's been eliminated, but also she was resilient enough to come back. And Mo has been a little up and down all season. The lip sync song is You Spin Me Round, and great news, it's going to be way better than the first time it was performed. Between Mo and Monet, I see Mo doing better in this one, and to be honest, I see her winning this. And that unfortunately means that Monet is out of the competition once again. And that brings us to episode 8, RuPaul's Best Judy's Race. Makeover challenges are some of my favorites personally, but are some of my least favorites when it comes to being judged by RuPaul, because the judging is very rarely equal and fair. Based on the original challenge, my own personal fashion taste, and knowing how these queens have done in their respective makeover episodes, Trinity is the winner this week, with Tatiana and Mo being a safe high. I think Coco and Shangela are very likely the worst of the night. Coco because I don't think she knows how to do other people's makeup, and Shangela because I don't think she'd be able to create something for someone else that would work, or be able to put her drag on someone else and have that translate well. If this was Trinity's choice, I could see her getting rid of Coco since she's been in the bottom a lot, and it would probably be one of those situations of get her out of here. She's been in the bottom way too many times. How are you still here? The lip sync song is Come Rain or Come Shine, and even though she's won so many lip syncs already, I think that Coco is gonna beat Shangela in this one. I just don't see Shangela being able to capture that Judy Garland essence that I totally see Coco being able to do. And that means that one of the biggest frontrunners in the competition is out at this point. So that brings us to episode 9, Sex and the Kitty Girl 3. This is kind of a terrible acting challenge, and I want to talk to whoever wrote it and season 3's acting challenge because they were both really bad. Mo was such a beautiful standout, and I say highest skanks all the time, which means that her performance was impactful. I do see Trinity as a high safe this week. However, the win is going to Mo, and the bottoms I see being Coco and Tatiana. I don't see Shea struggling bad enough to warrant being in the bottom. So we're in an interesting situation because Coco has lip sync so many times, but as fate would have it, the lip sync song is When I Think of You. And it feels evil to send Coco home to a Janet song. It equally feels evil to let her win a 5th lip sync. But like, there ain't no way I could send Coco home on a Janet song. I just can't because it would never happen. There is no way that Coco Montrese, known Janet impersonator, would fail at a Janet Jackson song. This is one of those where I would have to break the rules and say it doesn't matter that it's a lip sync for your life. I don't like that you've done it so many times. You got to get out of here. Because then what's the point of calling it a lip sync for your life? It's a lip sync for your preference of who you want to see in a future episode. So unfortunately, that does mean that Tatiana is out this week. And that makes our top 4 Trinity, Shea, Coco, and Mo Hart. So let's get into this finale. In the original season, I do have to say that this particular mix of Super Queen was not one that I would particularly enjoy for a finale. And it simply does not have the vernacular. And whoever mixed that song of Super Queen should have put it back on the Mac because they were unqualified to make such a remix. It was supposed to be for glamorous drag queens, and it was nothing of the sort. And that's all she's got to say about that. Trinity unarguably dominated this season, both in the original and in this version of it. Shea was incredibly steady all season. Mo lost a lot of steam in the final challenge and would probably do so in this reality as well. And Coco's been in the bottom so many times that I simply cannot justify putting her in top 2. So for me, it is between Trinity and Shea, even though I feel so strongly that Mo deserved to win this season. She just had no energy in that last episode. The final lip sync is Fighter, and I could see this going to Shea. Since I don't have a PR nightmare in this universe, I wouldn't be mad about double crowning them, but I don't think it's necessary to do so. And I do have to say I'm so sad that Mo lost so much steam because I would have loved to have crowned Shea and Mo together. I would have made an exception to crown both of them, even though it wasn't necessary. And with that, we are finished with the remix of All Stars 4. Let me know who you think would make it to top 4, and who do you think would be the winner of that group. And be real with yourselves. And I think that if this was a RuPaul Judge season, it would have shaken out very differently. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you for All Stars 5 very soon. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.